Hi, I'm Dr. Andrew Tam. Today I'm going to teach the topic how to write an academic essay in English using GPS method. This method is a very basic and simple method to write a good academic essay. If you are a GCSE or A-level or IB students, this lesson is very good for you. It's also suitable for students struggling with undergraduate essays or postgraduate research thesis. So let's begin with a situation. Imagine you need to write an essay to analyze the causes of 2019 Hong Kong anti-government protests. You search on Google and you got 1,000 results. How should you organize these information and write an academic essay? Merely copy and paste won't bring you any marks, so you need to organize them. Before we learn how to organize the information, we need to avoid bullshit and nonsense in our essay. Bullshit refers to mere opinions. They have no theory and no organization, just personal expression of emotion. Nonsense, however, consists of fancy jargons or terms, technical terms. It sounds professional, it sounds academic, but they are nonsense because these terms are not explained. Their meanings are fake. Just quotation and quotation. Let me show you an example of bullshit. Here is a bullshit. I think violence is no good, so both protesters and the police are not very good. Okay. Besides the Singaporean accents, sounds really strange. The statement itself is a bullshit because it contains no argument, no evidence. It's just an personal opinion. Nonsense. Here is another example. 2019 Hong Kong protest is merely a petty bourgeoisie revolution with less awareness of class struggle and fails to address the problem of alienation. There are so many fancy jargons and terms, isn't it? It sounds academic, but it's not, because these terms are not explained. What is alienation? Are you alien? The meaning is not clear. That's why we need to learn the GPS method to write a good argument. GPS stands for general, particular, and specific. General. General refers to universal statements that cover many cases, if not all cases. They are usually theories. For example, Hegel dialectics. Many philosophies are general theories. We use them in essay. Also, we have ideology like nationalism. Nationalism is a general idea. Idea or simple concept can also be a general statement, like autonomy, because autonomy refers to many situations. It can refer to the state or an individual. When we got a general idea, we need to describe it, so we need to illustrate the particular components, like features or characteristics, and if it's a theory explaining certain development, there must be certain stages. We need to illustrate the stages. Finally, we have specific example. We need to use example to explain how this idea works and explain whether it works or not. If you want to evaluate a theory, we need to test it in a situation. It can be a real-life situation in the case of case studies. It can also be an imagined situation in the case of thought experiments. When we try to explain something, we use GPS method to construct an explanatory essay. A general theory means certain particular points, which means certain specific examples shall happen in certain circumstances. And this specific example shows the features. The features show the whole theory. That's the explanatory method. Another way is argumentative way. We can use GPS method to evaluate, to support, or to deny certain claim. A universal claim should imply certain features or points, and this point should be refuted in certain situation. And if we find some example agreeing or disagreeing this claim, we can support or refute the theory. Here is an example, an explanatory example. Explain how Confucianism influenced late Ming Dynasty scholars' attitude towards the Manchurian conqueror. So we have a very long answer. In the beginning, we show a general idea first. According to the principle of differentiation between civilization and barbarians, 华夷之辩, in spring and autumn, a Confucian canon. Okay, we stop here. This term is very fancy, isn't it? Differentiation between civilization and barbarians. But if we do not explain its meaningless, it becomes nonsense. So we have a particular feature. Okay, what does it mean? It means Han Chinese are civilized while Manchurian are barbarian. Therefore, the Manchurian regime is illegitimate. So we have an example to test or to show how this idea worked in late Ming Dynasty. Therefore, in 1640, when the northern China was invaded by the Manchurian Confucian philosophers like Wang Fuchi, Huang Zhongxi, and Gu Yanwu, remained loyal to the Ming regime in the south. Here is an historical example showing how people believe in this idea and how they work out. So we can also have an argumentative way of using GPS method. Here is a question. Evaluate whether Hong Kongers still have the right of freedom of speech. How should we address this controversial question? We begin with a general principle first. The Article 27 of the Basic Law states that Hong Kong residents shall have freedom of speech. We have a general statement. Any Hong Kong resident should have freedom of speech, right? General. And then we need to explain its meaning. This means that people can express their political opinion freely. Now we need to test this particular feature, whether this meaning is true. Okay, here is a specific example refuting the idea. However, in practice, Hong Kong's freedom of speech is limited. The legislation of national security law in 2020 prohibits speech which expresses separatism. If you want to learn more about writing an argument or philosophy, please join me in the patreon.com Andrew Tam. It only costs you $5 per month. Thank you for watching. See you in next lesson.